Welcome to Drawn to Crime, where real mysteries unfold through animation. Most criminals make mistakes. They leave fingerprints. They talk to the wrong person. They get caught on camera. They panic. This guy didn't panic. He ordered a bourbon and soda. He chatted with the flight attendants. He was polite, calm, almost charming, and then he hijacked the plane. He walked away with $200,000 in cash, strapped on a parachute, and jumped out of a Boeing 727 somewhere over the dark, cold wilderness of the Pacific Northwest. And nobody, not the FBI, not the hundreds of investigators who spent decades on this case, not the thousands of amateur sleuths who still obsess over it today, has ever found him. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, the only unsolved air piracy case in American history. Let's get into it. November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, Portland International Airport, Oregon. A man walks up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter and buys a one-way ticket to Seattle. He pays cash. He gives his name as Dan Cooper. He's wearing a dark suit, a black tie, a white shirt. He's carrying a briefcase. He looks like a businessman. Forgettable. Completely ordinary. He boards Flight 305. There are 36 other passengers. Nobody pays him any attention. The flight takes off at 2:50 in the afternoon. Seattle is less than 30 minutes away. Somewhere over the short stretch of air between Portland and Seattle, Dan Cooper flags down a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. He passes her a note. Florence assumes it's his phone number. She's used to that. She slips it into her pocket without reading it. He leans over. Quietly, calmly, he tells her, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence reads it. The note says he has a bomb in his briefcase. He wants $200,000 in cash. He wants 4 parachutes. And he wants the plane to land in Seattle, or he will detonate it. She walks to the cockpit. The pilots radio Seattle, and the most baffling criminal case in American history is officially underway. The plane lands in Seattle. It taxis to a remote area of the airport, away from the terminal, away from other passengers. Here's what I want you to notice about what happens next. Cooper is completely in control. Northwest Orient agrees to his demands. The FBI photographs every single one of the 10,000 bills, mostly $20, before handing over the money. The serial numbers are all recorded. If even one of those bills ever surfaces in circulation, they'll know. The 4 parachutes are delivered. 2 are military grade, 2 are civilian. All 36 passengers are released. Cooper lets them go without incident. He's not here to hurt anyone. This was always about the money. The plane refuels. Cooper tells the pilots his plan. They're flying to Mexico City. He specifies a route, a maximum altitude of 10,000 feet, and a speed that will keep the plane flying slow and low. He knows exactly what he's doing. Investigators on the ground scramble. 2 F-106 fighter jets are scrambled to follow the plane in the dark. They fly behind and above, trying to stay out of sight. At around 7:40 p.m., the plane takes off from Seattle. Destination, Mexico City. Cooper orders the remaining flight attendants to the cockpit. He wants to be alone. At approximately 8 p.m., somewhere over the wilderness south of Seattle, a warning light flashes in the cockpit. The rear stairs of the plane have been lowered. The pilots feel a slight change in pressure, a bump, and Dan Cooper is gone. Let's talk about what he jumped into. It is the night before Thanksgiving. The temperature outside that plane is somewhere around -7 degrees Celsius. It is raining. It is pitch black. He is parachuting into dense Pacific Northwest wilderness, thick forest, rivers, no roads. He is wearing a business suit and loafers. Most parachute experts who have studied this case say that jump, in those conditions, in those clothes, at night, would be extraordinarily difficult to survive. Some say nearly impossible. But here's the thing. No body was ever found. No parachute, no briefcase, no suit jacket, nothing. The FBI launches one of the largest manhunts in American history. They search thousands of square miles of wilderness. They find nothing. Either D.B. Cooper died out there in the dark and the forest swallowed every trace of him, or he walked out. And that question, dead or alive, is the one that has haunted investigators for over 50 years. For 9 years, nothing. No bills turn up in circulation, no deathbed confession, no suspect who breaks. Nothing. Then, February 1980. A family is camping along the Columbia River, about 40 miles downstream from Vancouver, Washington. An 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is digging in the sandy riverbank. He pulls out a bundle of rotting bills. His dad checks the serial numbers. They match. $5,800 of D.B. Cooper's ransom money, partially buried, badly deteriorated, sitting in the mud of the Columbia River. And here's where it gets even stranger. The bills were bundled in the exact order the FBI had packed them in 1971. They hadn't been spent. They hadn't been separated. They were still together, still in sequence. So how did they get there? The Columbia River is not on the flight path. For the money to end up there naturally, by water drift, by flood, it would have had to travel in a direction that doesn't make hydrological sense. Some investigators think Cooper landed further north than anyone assumed, crossed terrain on foot, and the money was lost or buried near the river. Others think he drowned upstream and the money washed down. Nobody knows. $5,800 was found. The remaining $194,200 has never surfaced anywhere on Earth. Over 45 years of active investigation, the FBI looked at over 1,000 suspects. Let's talk about what they actually knew about him, because the profile is fascinating. The flight attendants described a man in his mid-40s, around 5 feet 10 inches to 6 feet tall, dark complexion, dark hair, sunglasses. He smoked Raleigh cigarettes. He drank bourbon. He was calm, polite, and never aggressive. But it's the things he knew that matter most. He knew the Boeing 727 had air-stair access at the rear, a feature that wasn't public knowledge in 1971. He knew exactly how slow and low the plane could fly without stalling. He knew how to specify a flight path. He asked for NB, negotiable, banknotes, like someone who understood financial terminology. He had knowledge, military, aviation, or both. The FBI's best guess was always former military, possibly airborne, someone who had jumped before and understood the mechanics, even if the conditions he jumped into were brutal. The top suspects over the years? Richard Floyd McCoy. 5 months after D.B. Cooper, McCoy hijacked a United Airlines flight in an almost identical way. Same ransom demand, same parachute exit. He was caught, convicted, and later killed in a prison escape. The FBI briefly considered him their prime suspect, then ruled him out. The physical description didn't match well enough. Robert Rackstraw, a former Army paratrooper and convicted con man. A team of private investigators spent years building a case against him, claiming to have found coded messages in Cooper's letters. The FBI looked at him seriously, but never charged him. L.D. Cooper. In 2011, a woman named Marla Cooper came forward claiming her uncle, Lynn Doyle Cooper, had confessed to being D.B. Cooper before he died. The FBI tested a guitar strap belonging to L.D. Cooper for DNA. It didn't match the evidence. And that's the problem. The FBI collected DNA from a tie Cooper left on the plane. Dark, clip-on, with a tie pin still attached. But the sample has never definitively matched any suspect. Every lead runs cold. This is the question that everybody wants answered. Parachute experts are divided. Some say the jump was survivable. He was low enough, slow enough, and if he had prior jump experience, he could have managed a rough landing in the trees. Others say the combination of factors, night, rain, freezing temperatures, business attire, the weight of the cash, made survival almost impossible. But here's what I keep coming back to. If he died in that forest, where is he? Search teams covered that terrain. Hikers, hunters, and loggers have worked those woods for decades. Not a single piece of physical evidence, no chute, no bones, no briefcase, has ever been found in the jump zone. And if he survived, where did $194,200 go? You can't spend that money. The serial numbers are known. Every bill is a liability. So either he hid it somewhere it's never been found, or he's still sitting on it somewhere, or he died and took the location with him. The most romantic theory, and honestly the one I find hardest to dismiss, is that he survived, buried the money, lived quietly somewhere under a different name, and died an old man with a secret nobody ever cracked. He pulled off the perfect crime. Not because it was flawless, but because he disappeared completely. In 2016, the FBI officially suspended active investigation into the D.B. Cooper case. After 45 years and over 1,000 suspects, they redirected resources to other priorities. The case is still technically open. Somewhere out there may be a family who knows. A relative who noticed something strange about a quiet uncle who always paid cash and never talked about his past. A box in an attic. A bundle of weathered $20 bills. Or maybe D.B. Cooper is just gone. A ghost in a business suit who stepped off a plane and into a story nobody has ever been able to finish. What I love about this case, and why I wanted to bring it to Drawn to Crime, is that for once, nobody got hurt. No victims, no families destroyed. Just one extraordinarily audacious man who looked at the world, decided the rules didn't apply to him, and jumped. Whether that deserves admiration or condemnation probably says something about each of us. If you have a theory, drop it in the comments. This community has some of the sharpest minds I've come across, and I genuinely read every single one. If you're new here, welcome to Drawn to Crime, where real mysteries unfold through animation. Subscribe, because we do this every week. I'll see you in the next one.